Okay, so here's where we're at with our Kero-Chan. I've got one leg made and stuffed, and I'm kind of just gonna anchor his leg down, and then you see where it's kind of tight there. We should be able to work the stuffing down. So we're just going to start on the second arm with round 1. So it doesn't really matter where you start, but I like to start on this bottom side here. So we're going to want to end up with 9 stitches. So we're going to pick up this stitch from row 9 from the body, and I'll just chain 1 to anchor that. And then I'm going to take the tail and kind of stuff it inside the body, which is kind of nice so we don't have to deal with that. Okay, so we're gonna end up with 8 stitches. So our first one counts, and then 2, and 3 stitches from row 9. And then we're going to pick up on the side of the hole from row 8. And then we're going to pick up 3 stitches across row 7. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to pick up our last stitch on the edge of the hole. And then that is the end of round 1. Since we're working in a spiral, I'm not connecting it, so we have that little gap here. So now on round 2 of the arms, we're going to increase in that first stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's round 2. So for round 3 through 12, we're just going to carry on single crocheting around. And then once we get to round 12, we can stuff the arm. And then we will do round 13, which is our decrease round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoop. Okay, so that was round 3. So I will meet you back here at the end of round 12 to stuff these arms. Okay, so we've got our second arm. He looks a little ridiculous. If you wanted to set them further out, if you wanted to do more of an arms open pose, that might be cute. So to stuff the arms, I just grab some polyfill and then use the end of my crochet hook. Thankfully, I have this bamboo crochet hook, so it's a little easier. Okay. So there are his little arms, and then now we're going to finish round 13, which is just a decrease waistcoat around to bring us from 9 down to 6. So decrease 1, decrease 1, decrease 1, and then I'm going to cut my tail, and then you can either use a yarn needle, or I'm just going to use my hook to grab my tail and pull it through every single stitch around. And then I will pull that tight, and then make myself a little knot to secure it, and then stick my hook through and pull this yarn down, and then cut that there. So then we have our two kind of goofy little arms, which also means that we are ready to stuff the body. So I'm just going to stuff with some polyfill, and then I'm going to stuff the bottom with something a little bit heavier. So a little bit more of a secure base. So now that we've done that, we need to go back up to the body instructions, and I've left off on round 25. So for round 26, I am just going to decrease a round. So we'll end up with just 6 decreases here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we'll pull the tail through, and again we're just going to bring our tail through each of those 6. And then pull that tight, and then I will secure that with a little knot, and then again I'm just going to pull this through the body and then pull that tight, clip it. Okay, so now we've got our body and our arms. So the next thing we have to do is just go ahead and attach the legs. So I've got the legs here, and we're just going to lightly stuff them and then finish the last couple rounds. And then they will be sewn on just right here. And then the wings. The wings and the tail. So I also have the I-cord for the tail. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to show you an I-cord, because the next I need to make I-cords for the wings, and I don't want to do white on white, so I'm gonna get a different background for that. So I just need to make his little poof ball at the end here, which is just going to be magic ring with 6 up to go to the tail up to 9, and then a couple rounds of just waistcoat stitch of 9, and then a decrease back down. We'll attach that to the tail. So I'm gonna go ahead and just finish these pieces and attach them. We're just going to be using a needle and using our long tail to stitch them on, and then I will show you how I do the I-cord so that we can make the wings. Okay, So we have stitched on our legs, and then I've tacked the little legs here, and then I have just stitched on the tail. If you wanted to use a pipe cleaner or something so that you can shape the tail, but there he is from the front. And so our last element is just to make the wings. And the wings are a bit of a process. So I'm going to walk you through making one set of wings. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one off camera, but he is looking pretty good. I think he's sitting okay. I think I could do a little bit of adjustment to his leg positioning to make him sit a little better, but his neck seems fairly stable. It will flop, but I could have stuffed his neck a little better to get him to sit a little better. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the wings, and then I will be back to show you how I assemble them. So we're going to start with a slip stitch and then pull that tight and chain 3. So we've got our 3, and then you're going to go into that second chain and pull up a loop, and third chain and pull up a loop, and then you're going to hold these 3 loops in your finger. You don't have to let go of that last one, and you're going to pull up a loop, pull up a loop, pull up a loop. And we're just going to repeat this for 13 stitches with the 3 stitches. One, 2, 3. Three. 1, 2, 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll keep going until we have 13. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm going to finish the 13. And then on this round, we want to increase and add another stitch. So I'm just going to go back into the first loop and pull up. So now we have 4 stitches on our hook. So now we will go 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is a little, you can see where that's almost got like a purl look to it, but that will be fine. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're going to carry on with our 4 stitches until you have 28 total, which is the same length as the tail. So I'm going to do that, and I will meet back up with you when I have 28. Okay, so we've got the 28 stitches, and I'm going to pull through all 4 loops on that hook and then chain 1 to close that. And then I'm just going to cut this tail. And then on the back here, where you kind of went from 1 to 4, I'm just going to stick my hook underneath those and pull this tail through. Just to kind of hide that, so then I can cut this. And then what I should have done was left a really long tail here for this next part, but I did not. So I'm going to do the same thing to hide my tail on this side, and we're going to start fresh with a new piece of yarn. So the idea here is that we've got a very long wing. So I'm going to roll this so that we get that nice Kero curl, and then we will have our first part of the wing. So to do this, I'm going to roll it so that the increase is kind of at the top there. So we're going to thread okay, kind of a struggle. So what I'm going to do is fasten my yarn just so that I have an anchor. So if you had your tail still, it might be a little easier. So we're gonna leave about 3 inches of the wing hanging off here, and I'm just going to pull the thread through our spiral and then back down through the spiral, and then so I'm just kind of going in circles to make sure that we are secure all the way around. And then I'm going to pull this tail just in a little bit so that we can hide it. And then we're just going to use this new tail that we had to have to stitch the wing onto the back. But first we need to add our other 2 wings. It holds itself up pretty well. I think I want to wrap it one more time. So I'm gonna go through here and go through here. Okay, so now we need to make our 2 other wing pieces. So that's going to be a 3-stitch I-cord for 12 stitches, and then another one just for 8 stitches. So this one was 4 stitches wide, so it's a little bigger and bulkier, and then we'll have the other 2. So when you make your slip knot for the other 2, you do want to make it quite long so that we don't run into the same problem, so that you have the tail to kind of attach in here. So I'm going to make a longer slip knot and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 8. So I'm going to pull through all 4 and chain one to close that. Okay, so this will be our third piece, and then we'll make the second one in just a minute here. So then we'll add our last one here. So then I'm just going to go ahead and hide this tail. And then we've got our 3 pieces on the wing, and I'm just going to try to pick whichever side looks less mangled, and then on the other one I'll be more focused on making it look nice. So we've got our spiral, and then we have this nice long tail, so that when we have both of them done, we are ready to attach here. And then we will have our little wings. I might also stitch in here just to kind of keep them a little more, because this one's a little loose, but I'll go ahead and make the other set of wings, maybe like that. I don't know. I'll make the other set of wings and then attach them, and then we just need to do a little face. Okay, so I'm actually going to do the face before I attach the wings, because I want to use that spot on the back as a way to attach this black thread and hide it. So if you have some embroidery thread, that might be easier, but I don't have any black embroidery thread, so I'm just taking some black yarn and separating it so that I can have some thinner yarn that will be, so this is 3 strands of that yarn. So I'm just going to attach my yarn here and tie a knot, because I know that I'm going to be putting the wings there, and that way I don't have to feed all the way up through the body. So I'm going to just try to get that yarn up. Okay, so what I'm going to do, move myself up and then make a little tiny nose. And then we're going to come down. So we've got a little nose, and then we're going to make a much smaller mouth. And then we'll come right back up in that same one. And then we'll come over here. And then bring this down. And then I want to come right back into this because I've got a little bit of a gap. Okay. And then come out through the chin. There we go, that's a little better. Okay. If you wanted, you could actually carry this down and make his kind of open grinning mouth. I'm gonna give that a shot and see if I like it. The only problem then is that you have to fill it with the pink, and that always sucks. So actually, I think I can do the same thing where I'm going across and just come down. And then I'm going to pull it in through here. And then there we go. Yeah, I think that's pretty good for a little Kero smile. So now I'm going to come out the back and just secure this here. And then I can bring both of these threads down into the body. To hide them. And then with that pulled tight, I can do. There we go. Yeah, I think that's actually pretty good. I haven't quite decided if I want to fill that in, but I'm liking his little face. Yeah. Okay, so now time for the wings. I went ahead and just used those long tails from the wings to stitch them on really high up on the body. And there you have your finished Kero. I'm not filling in his mouth because I think he looks cute as is. But yeah, please subscribe to see what bubbles out of the cauldron next, and give this video a like if you enjoyed making a little Kero plushie.